It's time for another edition of Dish It Out. And of course, I'm Chef Frank Benowitz, and joining me, the one, the only, someone who I always have time for, Chef Doug Fee.
That's only because you have to. And if you're still stay tuned after that joke, you're going to like what you see. We have a couple of special dishes for you, including Chef Frank's your own special twofer.
Twofer. It's sale time. It's always a sale here, right? Twofer. I'm doing the base, public enemy #1. And the base will produce a crab stuffed mushroom, which happens to be on our recipe menu for the semester in Food Prep 2, and a salmon cake, all from the same base. So you get 2 for 1, twofer.
Very good. And following that, we have some special dessert for you. Instead of a baked apple, we're going to do a baked Asian pear.
Delicious. And local.
And local. So it's all good stuff, so stick around for more Dish It Out. You're going to like what you see. All right, so let the games begin.
Absolutely.
So what are we starting off with first here?
No more time jokes? It's time to start.
Too late.
I know.
Okay.
We have the base, which for those of you that are watching What You Eat, if you've watched our other healthy episode, this probably isn't the one.
This is not that one, no.
Because we're starting off with a base of mayonnaise. And for my recipe, I like to use 1 cup of mayonnaise per 1 pound of protein. In this case, the protein starting off with is going to be the crab stuffing for the mushroom, as well as the salmon, which will be a cake. So one of the class we started teaching here now, the leftover class, non-credit, that I taught, and how to utilize leftovers. So this base, very versatile. You want to use up leftover turkey and cranberry stuffing and throw it in here. I don't know with the mayonnaise if it's going to be a healthy dish, but the base will work for pretty much anything, preferably seafood.
And it will taste good, yeah. Leftover seafood of any kind.
Exactly, even cooked, because I have leftover salmon that was poached, so that's what we're going to use for that. So to get started, we have some whole mayonnaise here, little chipotle Tabasco, and I know how you love the heat, so.
I was going to say, you said a little. That didn't look like that.
Oh, okay. Here, you want some more?
You just want more for you, I get it.
Better? But remember, there is a lot of mayonnaise in here.
Yeah.
So I use about 2.5 tablespoons per cup.
Okay, and how much mayonnaise do we have in here right now?
Right now, because we're doing a twofer, I put 2 cups of mayonnaise in.
Okay.
This way, I usually use, like I said, this would do a pound. You can smell how much Tabasco. I'm sure you're loving that. But that's a lot of flavor in there. So obviously, if you don't want that much Tabasco, use less.
You can dial it back.
Yeah, you can use none if you want. This is a mixture of some Old Bay seasoning. I did a little Italian seasoning because I love that Simon and Garfunkel. You know.
Parsley, sage, rosemary, thyme. We get it.
Exactly. Okay. So there's some oregano in there too.
Okay.
And so I'm going to add that in here. And there's a little dried mustard in. And again, you can put as much or as little as you want. I use approximately 1 tablespoon per cup. And again, more or less depending on how you like it.
Okay.
All right. And then with that, if you'd like to do the honors, you can see there's a lot of flavor in this base. So it's not for the weak. And then you can use some fresh parsley to freshen it up a little bit. I'm going to use a little bit of dried parsley in here.
Okay, so that's going to give us a little more intense flavor than a fresh would.
Exactly. So the ratio, and I think we've talked about it before, that it's about 3 to 1 on the fresh versus dried. So if I was going to use the fresh, I would probably use about 3 times the amount I'm using with the dried. So you can see there's a lot of flavor that's going on in this base. And that's basically it.
Basically.
Basically.
All right.
With a capital base. So with that, I'm going to ask you, I have here, this is my salmon that I've already poached.
Okay. Does not look good.
Let's see. That's been cooked plenty. So if you have leftover salmon, we're going to use about half of this.
Exactly half. Okay.
Exactly half. Exact measurements. So does that look like exactly half?
That's it. Oh, that's it.
There we go.
Yeah, leave it on the spatula.
All right,
There we go.
so that And then we're going to take some of our beautiful crab meat. As a matter of fact, this was on sale. So that's why we're using. I'm using the Phillips Jumbo Lump Crab Meat. And you can see it's a beautiful product. This isn't usually what we would use, obviously, here to do something that we're going to do with stuffing, because we really want to keep these nice pieces in there.
Right.
So,
but that's the good stuff.
that is the good stuff.
And it's actually, the lump's so big there, it's, we should have bought, like portobello mushroom caps to stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. This is going to get broken up a little bit. But if it makes you feel any better, I figured you're worth it. If it makes you feel any better, I'm going to put a little bit right in here so that way I can keep it. Again, we're two-fering.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we don't want to have waste or leftover, so
Nope.
let's use it up.
So I have that beautiful crab meat there. And what I'm going to do is, for my salmon, again, we have the base is the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little fresh dill, and I told you that I actually discovered something new today. By taking a little bit of dried dill, almost like we did with kosher salt and garlic, fresh garlic, to make it a little coarse and stay on our knife a little better. I put a little dried dill with the fresh dill, and it's amazing. It really held up better. And it's going to give a little bit more pungent flavor. So I'm going to put a little bit of that fresh dill with just a tiny bit of the dried in there to flavor that. You want more?
I didn't get any.
Oh, you mean in the crab?
Yeah.
No. Couldn't mention thyme all the time without giving you that fresh thyme in there.
Okay.
So we're going to flavor it differently. And then I have just a little bit of breadcrumb just to bind it. We don't want to use too much. So just as much as you need. Oh, you want to do that one?
I'm allowed to play? Good.
Of course.
Okay.
But there's a lot of flavor in that base, so we don't really need to add any more salt or pepper because the Old Bay's got quite a bit in there already. And then obviously we can always add more seasoning and we can always add more breadcrumb. It's very difficult to subtract.
So now if I was going to make a crab cake out of this instead of stuffing a mushroom, I'd be much more gentle so I wouldn't bust up those nice lumps. But
like I'm trying to be with my mixture over here. But this is mostly going to be salmon.
Gentle giant.
Yes. So this is mostly salmon in here. But you can see a little bit of that jumbo lump crab meat, which is nice, if you're entertaining. And I have my own breadcrumb over here, so I'll add a little bit more to that because you want enough to bind. And also, obviously it depends on the humidity in your kitchen and all those wonderful type scientific aspects. So a lot of times cooking is more utilizing your senses, right? In this case, our sense of feel. And we just want to put it together until we're able to.
As opposed to common sense?
We don't teach that.
No, some things you can't teach. That's true.
But yeah, I mean, definitely food is something that we need our senses. We just want to get it to the stage that we can actually have this binding to form a cake. So the less binder that we need to use, the better. And you notice that I'm not putting any raw egg in here. And you could do that if you were. I like to keep this nice and creamy. So I already cooked roasted the mushroom caps. So we can put this crab stuffing in there. And essentially we don't need to cook it because we can eat this raw. But if we wanted to, we could always put a pasteurized egg in there.
Right.
And that way we could still eat it raw. So I don't like to have to overcook this, especially the salmon that's already been cooked. I don't want to really cook it too much more, right?
And this is something that's a nice dish to prepare ahead of time. So if you have company coming over, take it out of the fridge, pop it in the oven.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of putting less binder in too, because when you put it in the fridge, it's really going to solidify a lot more.
Set up, sure.
All right, so I'll get you the mushrooms and I'll start forming some salmon cakes.
All right.
I even put a scoop there for you.
All
See,
right.
I'm thoughtful.
All right, we'll go with that. So I see we baked off the mushroom caps ahead of time upside down so we can remove some of that excess moisture and some of that shrinkage. Otherwise, if you stuff it and it shrinks up, it's just going to push the stuffing on out of there.
Yeah, and they did shrink up quite a bit. Mushrooms are about 90% water, right?
Exactly.
So they did shrink up quite a bit. And when I cook these salmon cakes, I'm going to use a little garlic.
You're not always gentle, apparently.
You know what? I'm not. I was rough with that. You got to take your time when you're cooking, and we didn't actually quite do that today, did we? But the end result will be delicious, and guess what? Those will be the ones that the crew eats.
It's all good. Look,
We'll put the nicest ones on the plate. But that's the beauty of this. This is going to act almost like spackle.
Exactly.
Because that'll
it'll
hold it.
together.
If you overstuff them like that, nobody's going to notice that anyway. So for these, I'm going to use the bigger scoop. And again, I would probably do these ahead of time and get a sheet pan going. And the scoop's going to be nice for portion control. So we're talking about, what would you say? It's about 2.5 ounce.
That's about right.
Okay, and you can see the piece of crab meat right in there. So let me go ahead and form these.
So now how are we going to cook off those crab cakes?
In the pan.
Okay. Could I just roast them off? What if I wanted to bake them?
I don't think anyone's going to come to arrest you for that. Remember, these are already cooked, so we could eat these just like they are right now. If we were going to do that, obviously, I'd be wearing gloves now since it's ready to eat food.
Oh. All right.
I mean, we do wash our hands. We're very zealous on that.
Yes, we are.
But even with that, you should still have that barrier between yourself and the food. So I'm going to do 4. How's that? 4 for now?
That sounds good.
All right, so I'm going to get
I know this crew is saying you should make 6 so everybody gets one, but
well,
it's okay.
We could do that off camera,
Okay.
right?
We can.
Where they can eat it raw. I just said you can eat it raw, right? The crab's pasteurized, the salmon's cooked.
It's all good.
Mayonnaise. To get my pan nice and hot, I'm going to put a little bit of this garlic oil. It's going to give it some nice flavor. I'm just watching how much I use there because I know that you're watching me like a hawk. I'm not using too much.
It's expensive stuff. It's good stuff.
It's expensive stuff, and you can smell how strong it is too. So I don't want to overwhelm people, especially with all the flavor that's already going on in there.
Exactly. You see those nice waves going on in the oil in there? The camera's picking that up, but you can see that produces that heat, and it's a good indication that you're getting the heat that you need.
And I have this light flour here, so if I can trouble you to use to kind of flour me up there.
I don't know if I like the way that sounds.
I was waiting for that.
All right, we can do that.
Okay. So I'm just going to get a light coat on there. What that's going to do, it's going to form a nice crust. So again, I'm going to turn my pan down a little bit because I just want to get a crust on these, and that's it. Then they're done. If I wanted to do them in the oven, like you said, I could. I can even give them a quick sear and finish them in the oven. But again, it's just a matter of how long or how much you want to cook these. I have different flavored salts here today. So if I wanted to get a little more flavor, I have an herb salt, which is very nice. I have a Malden, oops, sorry, I'm losing the ball there. I have a Malden sea salt, right? So that's beautiful stuff, smoked salt. And this first one, by the time we have that one, we'll be ready to flip.
And you can really smell that garlic
Yeah, is that
through there.
a little overpowering for you?
Not at all. I mean, that
good.
flavor's going to be nice on that.
I just want to get a little bit of that golden brown. I don't want to do too much. So I'm going to get that nice. And if I wanted to, like I said, I can go ahead right now and take that and just put it right in the oven just to cook the center through a little bit more because the center is cold.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the oven.
As long as you're over there, we can put our mushrooms in.
Oh, nice. See, they're all done. Perfect. You know what that means?
No, what does that mean?
It's coming back. Pretty soon, it will be time for my favorite part.
All right.
That'll take probably,
What's that, the end?
no, time to eat.
Oh, okay.
Now the,
Oh, that was my favorite part. I'm sorry.
well, see, now the crab's already done, so probably maybe, what, about 8 minutes or so, if that, you know.
That's all it takes.
Sometimes we just put them under the broiler, you know, because the mushroom's already cooked, the mixture. And then the salmon cakes, again, just want to cook the center through, maybe 5 minutes.
Exactly. It
That'll be
doesn't
it.
have to be difficult to be good.
Not at all. And then we get to plate up, I guess, soon, right?
We will. And we'll be back with more Dish It Out and plate up our dish right after this.
Experience exciting new flavors at the Culinary Center at Mercer. Learn from top chefs in the industry. Gain hands-on experience in our state-of-the-art kitchens. Acquire the knowledge and skills necessary for a successful career in the culinary arts. To learn more, call the number on your screen, the Culinary School at Mercer. We have the recipe for your success.
All right, welcome back to Dish It Out. Now it's time for dessert.
Looks like peekaboo time. What you got, what
It
you got
does.
going on?
What we
Peekaboo.
got going on here, we have some beautiful Asian pears.
They are.
And where did you find these?
I found these at the Philly Food and Wine Show. There was a vendor there from Pennsylvania that's growing just Asian pears. 9 different varieties of Asian pears. And people can go ahead and order these online. And I mean, they are magnificent. Look,
Yeah.
beautiful looking, right?
They are. And these aren't even the big ones. These are the 12 count as opposed to the 8 count. So what we need to do is we're gonna do these baked stuffed Asian pears. And we'll start off with our pear itself.
See, it's scary with you on this side because now the knife's closer to me. I better watch what I say.
How about that? All right. I'm just going to take off a little sliver off the bottom so that it stands up straight. Okay, so, all right, and I'm also going to take the top off. And we're going to hold on to that. And all we want to do is we want to hollow this out a bit so we can stuff it. What?
You said to hold on to it.
Moving on. What I want to do is make room for our stuffing inside the pear here, but I don't want to go all the way through it. So I'll use a little corer here, and boy, these are nice and juicy.
See, that's what I'm saying. These things are beautiful.
Wow.
It's like it almost looks like pineapple, doesn't it?
It almost
the
does.
way the juice is coming out.
So, and I'm going to finish hollowing this out. I'm going to use this Parisian scoop. See, when I was in culinary school, I had a French chef, and someone in the class called it a melon baller. No, it's Parisian scoop.
Oh, very.
So
French.
the answer is, of course, yes, chef.
Very fancy. Very French.
Yes.
That's what all the money goes to at CIA. The fancy French. But you learn a lot there too.
Yes, indeed. Of course, being an alumni from there, we used to say CIA stood for cash in advance, but you know.
Oh, it is expensive.
It is expensive, but you know, there are times when you get what you pay for. All right, so now this is ready to go here. And we've carved this out. I'm just going to put this off to the side here for a moment
Wow, those are
while we
beautiful.
make our stuffing.
My grandmother used to make these. Well, she made the baked apple version, and I'm really excited to try this with the Asian pear.
It should be good. Now I'm going to start off with some dried cranberries here. I got about half a cup. And I have a 1/4 cup. I have some roasted pecans. I chopped and roasted these guys up.
Oh, very nice.
If you like less, put in less. If you like more, put in more.
And I know during the holidays you did an episode about the pecan diamonds
Exactly.
that you would always do that are fantastic.
So I got pecans laying around the kitchen all the time. So got some oats here. Probably
any
about
whey?
a 1/3 of a cup there.
Oh, no way?
No,
Oh, just those? Oh.
no, just oats. Okay, and I have some cinnamon and a little bit of salt in there.
Cinnamon.
And a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I want to break that up a little bit.
Doesn't matter whether you use light or dark.
Not to me. It's going to
No.
be stuffed inside. So
Absolutely.
now if you want that, you get a little more molasses flavor, I suppose, with the dark. But I got some lemon zest, and I'm going to hold the rest of this aside for garnish. And we have butter. Now the butter here, I have about, I don't know, probably about 6 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to take 1 tablespoon, and that's going to go in my pan
Put a little butter
to
in it.
melt. All right.
You'd eat it. You know you would.
And the rest, well, we're going to.
Absolutely.
It's going to go right in our mixture for our filling. So
You
we're
know who
going to,
used to say that, by the way? That's where I learned that.
I'm afraid to ask.
No, this is legit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jim Haywood
Okay.
from CIA.
That's it.
He always put a little butter in it.
Okay. So we're just going to kind of fold the butter into all of our ingredients here.
Looks very fallsy with the oats and
Ballsy.
the
Is that
cranberry.
really a word?
I don't know. It's better than the word that rhymes with it.
Fall-like?
No.
Okay. Moving on. All right. So we got a nice mixture here, but you know, I don't have the patience to sit here all day and just do that. So I got the gloves because it's easier to stuff these with gloves. I mean, you can get the spoon and all that, and you know, maybe at home
Your
someone
best,
might want to do that.
best
But
tools, right?
exactly. So I got mix this up, and what we're gonna do is flip our lid here.
We've done that once or
fill
twice.
these right up. All right. Now, if I wanted to, I could hollow these out even more, and you can put in, you know, I could dice up more of the fruit to put back into it. All right, but I wasn't feeling that today, so we didn't do that.
Well, this will be nice. And with as juicy as those are, that, you know,
Mm.
maybe tough to put more of the fruit in there and
That's-
they overload the juiciness.
Exactly. Now, if you're doing baked apples, one of the things that you can do is sometimes you ever see how they collapse in on themselves?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's because there's so much steam in there, it just steams them.
exactly.
So you can actually, if you want to remove the skin, you can do that, and that'll help your apple, keep your apple from collapsing. If it's a Granny Smith, that is. Otherwise, it may turn to applesauce in the pan on you. All right.
These are pretty firm, though, even though they're very juicy.
They are. And the pears will hold up nice, even with the skin on, because we cut a pretty fair size slice off the top, and so that allows some of that steam to escape.
And we've done the poached pear dish, I know with the Hospitality Club with the brown sugar stuffing. Not as intricate as this. I really like the looks of this. So. And then we wrapped it in puff pastry afterwards, which was quite nice. Little ice cream with it. This looks pretty healthy.
It is, actually. And so we're going to add this little apple cider here. All right, I'm going to put that right in.
Apple cider and butter.
And butter and a little maple syrup.
And maple, just now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the oven at about 350. If I was smaller, had smaller apples or smaller pears, I might go at 375, but I want to make sure they cook through. And we're going to test for doneness with it, just like a baked potato. You poke it with a paring knife. If it's soft, it's good to go. So this is going to go right in the oven, and about every 10 minutes, it's going to take about 50 minutes. So about every 10 minutes, we're going to go in and we'll baste it. We'll put some of those juices over the top. And that's all it is to do.
Just like you do with poultry, right? That maple syrup really sets it off. And that's local also. That's from Pennsylvania.
All right. It's the Pennsylvania show, apparently. So we're going to pop this in the oven, and when this is done, we're going to take everything out.
And eat.
It's time to eat.
Yes.
I know, your favorite part. So stick around for Plate Up. We'll be right back. All right. We made it to your favorite part of the show, Frank.
It's time.
It's time to plate up and eat.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right, well, let's see. We're going to take these here. Again, I have my gloves on and do, it's going to be family style plate up.
Okay.
All right? So we're going to do, like to get a little height on them, right? So why not? I think this is entirely too much food for the two of us. But this is our appetizer / entree.
Exactly.
So I'm going to let these mushrooms, I didn't notice before, they're all essentially the same color, right?
Lots of brown there, but you got some nice orchids there, some edible orchids.
I do.
Have you ever eaten one of those?
They taste like flowers,
As
right?
a matter of fact, they do taste like flowers. People ask, well, what do they taste like? Well, you're welcome to try it. It tastes like you're eating a flower.
Exactly. So I'll get a little bit of height on there. I don't want to mess around. If I had another mushroom, maybe I'd give it some height. But I'll give it some height with the time.
All right.
So I don't like to go crazy about giving it too much height. Really, the star of the show is the mushrooms. And
I thought you were going to say it was you, but that's
no, that's not true. All right, so a little of this beautiful fresh dill, and it's sitting on set, so we would usually do a little ice water to revive it.
Yes.
So just going to kind of lay it right there,
Okay.
just to let people know. I'm trying to lay it right there. There goes my height. See? Darn gloves. And just let people know there's some
Blaming
dill
the
in there.
gloves. See, I have students that do it all the time. They blame. I can't do it with gloves, but I said, it seems to me that brain surgeons wear gloves too, and they manage okay.
Well, I'm not a brain surgeon, so.
Well.
But you know what I forgot is this sauce. So this is just a little tartar sauce. Obviously, you could use remoulade, would be more classic. So just a little bit underneath there. Let me go back to just plating one. How's
Very
that?
nice. That works.
How much do we really need to eat? You see the crab meat in there too. I don't know if you saw that.
I did indeed.
So
It's looking good. And be careful not to over sauce. So many people just go wild with the sauce.
Exactly.
You want to enhance the flavor of anything you serve with the sauce, not bury it.
they do. I'm going to have to do a little napkin with that. Now I can do my dill.
Very good.
Little fresh dill there. Little fresh dill here. Little dill there. Little dill here.
All right.
All right, little dill. Got my little micro herbs. Put a little of those in the center. I want to go overboard either, right?
That's it. And, sometimes understated is better.
Yeah, but I wanted to get a little color there. And I'll wipe down this plate while you're
All right.
getting yours done.
So you can see these are our pears fresh out of the oven here, and they are nice and warm. And glazing them constantly, you get that nice sheen on the outside of the skin here. And they are soft.
Winning. Oh, not that sheen.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Wrong sheen.
This is the perfect time. They smell heavenly. It's where's it at? Where's the time? It's time. Turn up your smell-o-vision.
They
smell.
end.
They
Doesn't end.
they smell so good though.
Me.
Look at it. It's syrupy. It's delicious.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this glaze out of here. And we're going to drizzle that right over the top here.
Oh,
That
man.
maple syrup,
How good does that look?
butter, a little apple cider. Also very good.
You know, as much as the smell-o-vision is needed, I think just the appearance on that, I think, will give way.
The other thing too is if you wanted to, I mean, you can certainly just take maple syrup and apple cider and a little butter and reduce it down on your stove. If you want more sauce, that's fine. But what you'll find is there's enough of the glaze that's actually on the pear that it should have just the flavor that you need.
Just needs a scoop of ice cream, though,
Okay. Now what we need to do is sit down and try it. All right.
right? Yeah.
We'll be back right after this. All right, so now we made it to your favorite part of the show. We get to sample our fare.
It's time.
It is that time. So we have our salmon and crab cake combination.
Twofer.
Yeah, that's right. And our stuffed mushrooms, which look great. And you can still see the nice lump crab meat right in there.
See, we didn't waste it. There's pieces of that crab meat in there.
There is indeed. And we have our Asian pear.
Oh, yeah. Look at that thing. It's glistening.
All good stuff.
It's like calling you, beckoning you. What is
Well.
that called? A siren, where the ship captains get lost in the rocks? Because it's calling.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Ooh.
What we're going to do now is sample. So,
All right. That'll
and
shut me
thank
up.
you for joining us on this episode of Dish It Out. We hope to see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Which are we starting with?
I'm starting with the crab.